2, 1.
And so begins another episode of the Inspired Disorder Podcast. With our hosts, Ray Taylor and Keith Spurlock. Disorder starts now.
Bam! It's hilarious. It's hilarious that our guest was flashing a sticker or something the whole time during the intro, and
but
nobody.
There's no video during the intro.
Not. It has like. It wasn't the video that they're watching now. This shit changes. I do stuff kind of throughout the show, especially for video. I have different things. Now he's got it on his nose. See, look at that special effects. Fuck you.
Fucking. See, this is what happened.
ELM.
He gets a black guest on, and then he starts doing all these gangster-ass hand motions. That shit in the last podcast. What are you doing with your hands, man?
You've inspired me to lose weight, and I'm just trying to multitask by working out while I'm doing the fucking podcast. You know what I'm saying?
You're not trying to make me feel comfortable because I'm black and with the hand motions.
No. Just because I thought of getting OE before the podcast drink doesn't mean that I'm trying to make you feel more comfortable. I'm just saying. So anyway, for those that don't know what the fuck is going on, including Keith.
What?
Our guest today is Jayarr Steiner, the one, the only. For the listeners of this show, watchers of the show that know primarily what we talk about and the universe that we revolve around in and bump into things is the Death Squad universe.
Jesus, spit it out, Ray.
I can't. I've got to fluff the shit up, man. I've got to get it hard just so somebody can suck it. And
looks good on camera.
Yeah, there you go. You want to be camera ready at all times, and a fluffer is needed. So, boom, Death Squad. Influence, the man that does so many fucking t-shirts for so many fucking Death Squad comedians.
I do.
JR, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. It's a beautiful night. I'm fucking working on my taxes here. One of the worst parts about owning a business is being an actual businessman. So I am not happy about doing my taxes, but I have to. But I'm the king of procrastination. That shit's due tomorrow. It has to be postmarked tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
I started tonight.
Well, I'm glad you're procrastinating with this show. Because we are the number one reason to stop doing your taxes.
I'm excited, man. I was actually telling a friend of mine on the phone, she was asking me, are you excited about being on the podcast? And I said, for me,
you're like, what podcast?
When I get any sort of acknowledgement from people I have no idea who they are. So Jill Himitsu hit me up and she's like, will you be on this podcast? I was completely unaware of the podcast. I had heard your name before, Keith, for some reason, but I was completely unaware of the podcast. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that people are interested in talking with me and getting to know me and maybe hearing some of these stories. And I've got a few stories, man.
Absolutely, man. We totally want to hear your stories and stuff like that. But, because you have met a lot of the Death Squad comedians and stuff, and you're doing, you went, you met, or you went down to the new the Joint Studios and all that, and that was actually,
I don't think, the show.
Yeah, I don't think that was where, I can't remember exactly when you came onto the radar, but I think that was definitely the one where I was like, I want to get that dude on the show. Yeah. You seem to have good energy, and I like, what you're doing business wise. Which I don't really know. I want to talk about. See, I want to talk about the Death Squad stuff, but I also want to get to know you.
Sure.
So where you started, how your business grew, because I know
started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom. Now the whole team. Okay, sorry. Go on.
See, you guys didn't know we had a dual guest.
Are you trying to white it up for us?
I know, Jesus
started
Christ.
From the bottom. Now I'm trying to imitate. I'm trying to imitate Ray's hand.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Those were wizard tricks he was trying to do.
Yeah, no, it's
like a wizard. Man.
I fluff myself with magic.
And you've got a dragon on your shirt, blowing fire.
That's right.
Ari Shaffir,
man. Ari Shaffir.
The Ustream listeners, watchers, listeners. For the blind Ustream people, I just showed my Ari Shaffir passive aggressive shirt. Anyway,
I talked with Ari last week.
Nice. How is he doing? Are you doing? Because he's done shirts. Are you like? Is that like? Are you planning on doing shirts for him?
Ari is moving to New York very soon.
Yeah.
And you know, I asked him if he wanted me to fulfill. Well, the story goes like this: I get a text from Brody saying Ari's going to call you later today about printing shirts and doing his fulfillment, and Ari didn't get back to me. Well, he tweeted me instead of calling me for some reason, and he got back to me via Twitter. And I didn't really talk to him much, but then I sent him a tweet saying, hey, I know you're moving. If you want, I'll fulfill your shirts for you.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that? He said, yeah, let me think about it. I'll give you a call next week. So that's my extent of Ari Shaffir contact. But they all talk with each other, and I know I do a good job at what I do. So that's how I got, you know, the Naughty Show contract. That's how I got the new Crab Feast contract, is they all chat with each other. So
yeah,
actually, that's how I got Brody to sign on, is, you know, through Joey, you know, so it's all, they're all so tight with each other, man. So I'd love to fulfill and print Ari's shirts, but he's got to get back to me, you know, whenever he's ready. I'm in no rush.
Yeah. So let's start. What's your background? Like, you do shirts? Do you do like original designs and stuff like that too?
Yeah. So you want to know my background? Like, you want to know maybe how I got into printing shirts?
Yeah, or like, what were your goals early on? I mean, was shirts like was that something you wanted to do, or was it like something that splintered off another passion of yours?
My story goes like this. I've been an artist pretty much my whole life. So one thing a lot of people don't know, and this is only for your Ustream, I have a lot of tattoos. And I've drawn every single one. So, like, when people, you know, when they ask me about my art, I usually just lift up my shirt and show them, like, this permanent artwork I have. But anyways, I started just drawing, you know what I mean, as a young person. And but it's really hard to find a way to make a full-time living as an artist. So, you know, I tried, like, making shirts when I was 16. I'd make them for my friends and, like, people in the neighborhood. That kind of fizzled out. And to be honest with you, I restarted the custom T-shirt printing business out of sheer desperation. I used to have this amazing career traveling around the country working at different nuclear plants. And I've been to, like, California, Arizona, which is now where I live. I've done all the plants in and around New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Florida.
What did you do for that job?
Well, I was considered a nuclear outage technician. So what a nuclear outage technician is the bottom of the barrel. Like, I don't have a college education, so I don't have the typical skills of your normal nuclear plant worker. So what they would
you weren't Homer Simpson.
No, Homer buttons. I had to sweep shit up. You know what I mean? So I would go in like if there were carpenters working on a scaffolding for one of the steam generator replacements, I would bring them the materials to build the scaffolding. I was a grunt, basically. But it allowed me to see a lot of the country and save up a gang of money. So everybody obviously remembers when the economy fell in about 2007, right?
Yeah.
So when the economy fell, my job got completely lost in the shuffle. Like, they didn't need people to travel from out of state to work in these nuclear plants because the people in those plants were able to take those jobs. You know what I mean? So again, like I said, I have no college education. I don't have any set of skills besides being an artist. So I had to take a job at a gas station. So I worked at this gas station after being on unemployment for like a year. I worked at this gas station for like 6 months, and it was in the hood. And I don't know if you can tell by the way I talk, but I'm not from the hood. I'm from the suburbs. Like, been around white people my whole life. All my friends are white. It's just been a part of my life. So that was a fucking shock to me, man, to be selling Lucy cigarettes and people coming in with their welfare cards buying the shittiest nutrition food. I'm talking ice cream, frozen pizzas. So
wait, you can't call that nutrition food.
No, I said the shittiest.
I know it's the shittiest, but like, that can't even be categorized like that in the category of nutrition food. Like, I don't even think that even exists in that category.
May as well be eating cardboard
food. Yeah,
that shit fucked me, man. Now, working in these nuclear plants allowed me. I had about like $15,000 in the bank from saving up from working in the nukes. I mean, you can make a lot of money working in these plants and traveling.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine came up with the idea. He's like, dude, why don't you start making shirts again like you used to back in the day? And, we talked about it, and we came up with a plan, man. And so up in New York, I'm in Arizona. I live in Arizona right now, but I grew up in New York, lived in New York. So we rented a space. We bought all the equipment, all brand new stuff, and we started printing shirts. Well, when I say we started printing shirts, him and I ended our partnership very quickly after the business opened. And I guess the rest is history. 3 years later, I started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. I can get into more detail, but now I'm a part of this Death Squad community, and I help. I mean, in my opinion, I would say Joey Diaz is probably like one of the most important people. As far as a fan, he is one of the most important Death Squad guys. Like, there's nobody in the world like Joey. So Joey was the first person I hit up, and he allowed me to work with him, and it's the rest is history. Here I am talking with you guys on this podcast about some Death Squad shit.
Yeah.
That dude's such a good dude, though. I met him, and I've talked to him through Twitter, and for as hard as he comes off in so many ways, he's the nicest fucking guy you'll ever meet.
You know how a lot of like people. A lot of guys who live in Hollywood, they have an on-stage persona, and then they have their off-stage persona. Joey Diaz is the same guy, and I know this now as a fan for years, having a personal relationship with him now. He is 100% legit, dude. He is exactly who he is off a podcast and off a comedy, and he's like, he'll say on his podcast a lot, I call my friend once a week, twice a week. Dude, he fucking calls. Like, he calls me probably once just to check in. If we don't have any issues, he probably calls me like once every week and a half just to say hello. And it'll be like a 60-second conversation. Dog, how you doing? How's the old lady? How's this? How's that? And he'll call to check in, and he's a real motherfucker, man. He's the real. When he says he's the real deal, he is the real deal.
That's awesome.
I remember hearing Bert Kreischer on his podcast saying that Joey will drive past his house just to check
on his wife.
Not even to stop by,
Yeah.
just to be like, just see if his house is all right.
Yeah.
Like, he's that type of dude.
You know why I think it is? Joey grew up in a really hard part of New York City, and he's carried those values with him to Hollywood, and he's a real motherfucker, man. Like, I love Joey to death, and we've had our issues, and he's called me screaming at me, and
what is that like? What is that like?
And this is why it's actually heartbreaking, because again, I can't stress this enough. I am a fan of Death Squad.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the comedians. So of course, getting a phone call from Joey is like, every time, even still now, is butterflies. Like, when I see his face pop up, because I have one of his pictures as my thing, and I have a custom ringtone for him, I still get like butterflies. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. What's your ringtone?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious.
Wait, are you fucking with me, or do you?
No, I really want to hear it. I want to know what it sounds like when Joey Diaz calls you.
Going to die. Hold on a second. So what this is if you Google like Joey Diaz ringtone, there's a short video of Red Band, Ari Shaffir. I think it's a young Tony Hinchcliffe and Joey, and they make this funny joke about Joey's ringtone. So I clipped a part of Joey singing out of that video and made it my ringtone. And
Nice.
Actually, I get like an email 3 times a week asking for the file. I need to just upload the shit. All right, listen to this. Technically, okay. Listen. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Licking my asshole, drinking your titty goo. Let's see, eating your mouth flood. You love it. Lick it dirty animal. Put it in my belly button. Give it to Papa.
Oh, sorry. That you do that ringtone. I got like Verizon, iPhone. I got all that shit. But so,
Oh man.
yeah.
I think that might be adding to the nervousness of answering that phone call. I don't know, but that is an epic.
And then you pick it up and it's, God damn it, motherfucker! And you're like,
Why did you wait?
Jesus, no!
Cocksucker!
You want to hear what he yelled at me about? So according to Joey, he got a few complaints about the quality of shirts. And the reason that he yelled at me is because I stuck up for myself. I'm like, Joey, the quality of shirt that I use for you is top quality. It is one of the nicest shirts I can get for the price. Dude, as soon as I fought back, he snapped. He's like, what the fuck, cocksucker? This is fucked up. You can't. I'm like, Joey, you can't. There's no way that this is how you talk to like your lawyer, your doctor. He's like, yes, I do. That's how I talk to everybody. So, we had a discrepancy. He hung up on me. I hung up on him. And honestly, we didn't talk for like 2 months, man. Wow. And I sent him an email like a couple weeks later explaining to him that, I would never do anything to offend you on purpose. I'm coming at you as a fan, dude. We haven't signed any contracts. We can end this when you want.
Yeah.
He responded, but barely. Called him a couple weeks later, and then he apologized, and he was like, I was going through some things that day. I'm sorry about that. And then we relaunched his web store, and he's sold an ungodly amount of merchandise. Actually, the guy you had on last week, or was that last week? DeathSQUAD CT?
That was like
4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was like, yeah.
Okay, I printed the shirt that he was wearing.
Yeah.
Shirt. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, him calling me to yell at him yelling at you is absolutely terrifying because it's not that he's a scary guy. I mean, Joey's like, he's a big, Cuban guy. I mean, he's not gonna come to Arizona and fuck me up or send some of his goons. I mean, but it's terrifying because I'm thinking I might lose somebody who's extremely important to me. So that's where the terror sets in.
Yeah. So going back to your art, what kind of art did you do? Was it drawing, painting, photography? What kind?
Drawing. So I would draw like comic book characters.
Okay.
And, I have this character HGL that I have him in 3 spots on my body. Like I've drawn him since I was like 14 years old. Still up to now, I still draw him.
So did you ever get into? Because I have art background as well, and I've gotten my hands into every fucking thing. But like, how far did you go? Did you from drawing? Did you go into other stuff, or was it just pretty much just drawing?
Well, it went from drawing to I discovered Photoshop in like the 9th grade in high school. Okay. And from there, I wanted to get into like photo manipulation, but I would still. Do you know what a Wacom tablet is?
Yeah, I have many of them. Yes.
Wacom tablet. It was on. Like I knew I could draw right on the computer, and I would like instead of taking markers and coloring in line art, I would paint bucket it and like do cool effects to it. And I'll never show that artwork, dude. It's so cheap.
It is weird because I remember that time. I mean, my mom was like dabbled in graphic design, and so I started with Photoshop 3.0, where there was like maybe 10 different brushes, selections, no layers. Like it was so limited. And then in high school, they implemented layers, and like it was like from there it was like holy shit, like this is fucking crazy. Now I just haven't kept up. I mean, I use it all the time, but I can't. There's so many different fucking features on that goddamn application.
I actually still on my computer right now. I have CS2, and I think they're up to like CS6, and I only use the most basic of tools. But as an apparel designer and printer, you don't need really elaborate. You know?
Do you use Illustrator?
The only time I use Illustrator is when I need to vectorize something.
Okay. Yeah. I never got into that one. Always
so
Photoshop. What's that?
So we're on the same page then.
Yeah. But so you did the thing, and now you're doing that. How many like I know you do a lot of shirts for. Actually, going back, did you have like when you got into the whole, or actually even back before that, where as an like let me just like this is the remix version of a question. Yeah, no, Tarantino taught me how to ask this question, so shut up, Keith. So anyway,
Jesus fucking Christ, spit it out.
I would, but today, Junior. Yeah. Okay, yeah, good job. What were your artists that you looked up to, or was getting into T-shirts? Was there something that like what propelled you into that? I
as an artist, you always want to find a way to express, to bring your artwork with you. So what the first shirt I ever made was some shit that I like. You know how you go to Walmart, you can buy like the printer packs, like
Yeah.
you can heat press it. So
Yep.
those are my first shirts. But I did such a good job with them that I actually made money. Like I had people coming to me and getting like custom shirts made. So that was like my first experience with making shirts.
Awesome.
And then that, like I said, that completely fizzled out. I like screen printed a couple years later with a buddy of mine, but that fizzled out. But then given the opportunity to take the money I had saved up from working in these nuclear plants, you know, I was able to take it and make it an actual career. And
Awesome.
you want to talk about scary? That shit was fucking terrifying. Like quitting, even though the job was $8 an hour, quitting a job to do something full time is fucking scary. So I had to make some major sacrifices, man. Like living in my shop at the time and with no shower. I had a gym membership, so I would shower at the gym. I had no kitchen. Like I literally lived where my shop was, and I hid it real well, man. Like I had a small room with a couch that turned into a bed, and like I had a big fridge, but I kept all my food, like salads and stuff, in the drawer so nobody would see them. And I did that shit for like 4 years, man. But it took that long to get to where I'm at now, which is, I mean, I've got a viable business. I've got a successful business.
Yeah, that's actually like I'm like getting to the point where I'm leaving. I've been working at this place for, it's going to be 11 years in August. And I get paid pretty decent, but I was like, I fucking hate it. I hate where I work. But
Can you talk about what you do?
What's up?
Can you say what you do?
I can't say where I work, but I sell electronics. Let's put it that way. Because I'm into technology. I've always been into technology, but I've always been into, when I was a little kid, my mom asked me what I wanted to be, and I told her I wanted to be a professional artist. And she's like, the only artists to make any money are dead. So selling their paintings are dead. So I was like, okay, that's great encouragement.
Yeah, imagine telling your parents you want to tell dick jokes for a living.
Yeah, that probably would have gone over better, just because my mom was was an artist at one point, so she was trying to protect me. But like I'm at the point where absolutely, I'm at the point where it's like I need to quit my job and I need to do everything full time. And it's like I'm trying to get everything settled to where, you know, when the jump happens, that I'm able to like start, you know, I want to hit the ground running, I guess you could say.
I love how everyone's taking a chance right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with me trying to do this comedy thing, Ray's trying to do his art thing, you're doing your T-shirt thing, you know. I just hope I'm almost a year into comedy. I hope within the next 3 years that I can, you know, be on the road and make money from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think part of the motivation is the economy just fucking tanking. And
I look at it as college, though.
You know what?
So many people go to college and it takes at least 4 years. At least 4 years.
Yeah.
So if I do comedy for 4 years and I'm still not shit by the end of 4 years, it's just like all these kids who do 4 years of something, get into that line of work and realize this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like this shit at all.
Absolutely.
Or they can't even get a job because what they took, the classes they took, you know, there aren't even jobs for them to get. There's so many bullshit majors that people just take.
Oh, of course. Well, the reason
I went to school for backcountry horsemanship.
people go to school is I think is mostly out of fear, because there's a certain path that Americans have set out for their children. That path is go to high school, right after high school, go to college, get a job, you get a career as soon as you get out of college, and work that shit until the day you die.
Yeah, and then get married and have kids.
Yeah.
You forgot that part.
After she has kids, and like, you know, you have to, it just, there's a certain path that we've laid out for our children, and it is nice to see somebody try something completely different, you know. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I have a prayer. I say this silent prayer that one day it will be more accepted for young people to take a completely different path than the college route, you know, or the traditional like white picket fence. Like nobody. Let's put it this way: if that path wasn't set in place, the industrial machine wouldn't work as well as it does anyway. Keeping us sheep, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If everybody was free thinkers and did what they felt in their hearts, the the money structure and the power structure that controls the world right now would completely fall apart, man. You have to have people to pay 90 grand in school loans and then never use that degree. They end up, as soon as they get out of college, they end up getting a job at the Banana Republic, and then they end up working there for another 15 years, and then they become a hairstylist. Like, nobody tells you that shit. Like, how hard, like, there's no guarantee. If you go to school for 4 years, there's no guarantee that you're going to come out with a job in that field, but you still owe 90 grand. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And, well, yeah, I think I didn't go to college. I went to a few, like, I tried to get into an art school, and that wasn't, I got accepted, but, like, affording it was not happening.
He drew that turtle and the pirate really well.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I remember, like, yeah, it's so good. It's a mail-in test. It's like, I was right there, man. It's turtle.
This fucking turtle looks awesome.
But yeah, I had the same fucking with school. I mean, it depends on what you're going to, what future you want to have. Like, if you want to be a doctor, you know, you kind of have to go to school. Lawyer, you kind of have to go to school. But if you want to start a business, if you want to be your own boss, if you want to take chances and you know, break the mold, you can't break the mold if you're learning everything about the mold, you know? And it's, for me, like, the things I want to do, there's no school teaching you how to start a business that incorporates all the things, all the different, like, artistic passions that I have. Podcasting wasn't even, like, a thing then. Not that, I mean, I've found that I've learned way more teaching myself than I ever learned in school.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people, a lot of people have asked me how I got Jayarr Custom started, how I've been able to run it. And from the outside, my business looks very, like, it looks really tight, and it looks really like, no, I'm bulldogging my way through this, dude. Like, I'm a fucking bum. I was homeless at 19 for, like, a full year, living in my car, and, you know, like, I'm a fucking bum. Like, I have YouTubed my way through life and through this career. I'm not joking. Like, everything that I've learned about screen printing, I've learned through YouTube tutorials, through free shit. And I was lucky enough to have that 15 grand in the bank. Really, that's what most people don't have, is that startup money. So, like, you, for instance, Ray, I'm assuming, let's put it this way. You're talented, you've obviously got the skills, and you probably have the equipment to create artwork, but the problem is, to do it full-time off the bat, you're going to have enough money to pay your bills for the meantime.
Yeah, no, I've got plans for that. But, yeah, I definitely...
Male prostitute. He's going to prostitute
Okay, well,
himself.
Spoiler alert. Thanks, Keith. But, yeah, you know, I have a good corner.
He's big in the bear community.
There's, like, a corner. I live so close to, like, this prime spot that nobody ever goes to. And it's, you know, when somebody sees...
It's the corner that dude, the Coney dude, was jerking off on. Don't lie.
No, that's like in PB or something like that. That's like the college town. I'd have to lose, like, 40 pounds to be able to work that place. But there's a corner just down here that I can just, you know, I'm good. I can just shake my little love muffins, and, you know, I'll make that shit happen when I need to, you know, just a little extra money here and there.
You would do well in the bear community, or in, like, the Hobbit 2 extras community, you know?
Yeah. Right? I've been hit on by a lot of gay dudes, sadly. I have. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, I get it. That's not me. I'm not into that.
It's flattering to a certain extent,
it's like,
but after the 8th dude, you're like, God damn it.
Like,
did someone tape something to my back that says I suck dick or something?
Yeah, it's like, no, it's tattooed. That was, like, the bad decision. Like, you know, everybody has, like, a regret in their life, and mine was getting "will suck dick" for a good smile on my back, and bad decisions, man.
He hit Ray up recently because I want to take a trip to San Diego, and, like, I don't know shit about Ray, but I was like, dude, when I come out, I want to hang out with you. I'm thinking in the back of my head, I hope this guy doesn't think I'm coming out to try to fuck him. You know?
That's, you know what's so, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, and I even mentioned, like, oh, dude, there's this bar right by there. It's like, we can go there, man, have some drinks.
Yeah, I just, you know,
I have soft lips.
Want to get that. If I was gonna fuck a guy, let's keep it real, it'd probably be a guy like Keith, because I'm a big guy.
Yeah. You want to dominate.
You know, kind of, you know, a little more feminine looking. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
All right, thank you.
Just because I know how to shave?
Hey man, Ray, you look. I'm telling you, man, Ray, you look like something out of Lord of the Rings. You really do, man. You could really.
Yeah.
You look a bit like Gimli. Like if you had on like that wig, and my ox.
Dude,
you know?
my beard was fucking crazy not that long ago. Like homeless beard shit. Like yeah. I'm getting it back though. I'm going back for it. Anyway, enough of my facial hair.
Who would you say has been like maybe I shouldn't say favorite. Who was no fuck it, I'm gonna ask you, who's your favorite guest so far on your podcast?
You know what? Having Yuck Nasty on the first time was really awesome because it was the time where my old co-host Justin wasn't it was just me and him. It was just me and Yuck. And doing a podcast with just me and one other person is way more stressful, especially since I'm running like all the fucking equipment and trying to maintain a conversation and all that stuff. And I got to know the dude, and he's fucking amazing. He's like I talk to him all the time. Although I don't really talk to him all the time, but we talk because we're both
up. He didn't say me.
Both really busy. Oh no, fuck. Like why would I say that?
What
Keith,
the fuck?
I had to get Keith on like 3 times before I was sure like I wanted to talk to him again. It's like, yeah, maybe I don't know. Nah, man, there's been Yuck was a really good one. Vicky, both times Vicky was on. Vicky Pezza from the Naughty Show was fucking awesome. But I have to.
Gareth one.
Gareth was amazing too. I got not fucked up like drunk or anything, but my brain got off the rails with that one because we had some technical issues, and once that happened, I was like totally like I turned into my Skype feed turned into like a methed out chipmunk. Like it was just me talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
It looped like this.
Yeah, so that one totally, it was awesome. Gareth is fucking awesome too. But the best was the 24-hour podcast because just so many people. The highlight for me was getting Eddie Bravo called in. And we had a guy from the UK that's huge into jiu-jitsu, and we had the Cuckoo's Nest, Randall McMurphy, who used to have a show on the network. Both of those guys are huge into jiu-jitsu. So that the interview they had with Eddie Bravo was fucking epic. And then towards the end, Duncan Trussell came on, and I'm a huge fucking Duncan Trussell fan. Shout out to Duncan Trussell. Hope he's doing well. Sorry for his loss. He's an amazing dude. And I also had Mish the Dish, who's also does a podcast on the network, and she's a huge fan, and she was on. So it was like both of us, we got to like talk for a very short time with Duncan. But that for me, like the end of that podcast, 24 hours, because I was there from the beginning to the end, 24 hours straight producing it. Like that end of that show, we had like so many guests on. It was ridiculous. Like I was on such a fucking delusional high by the end of that show that it was like amazing. That's how
I got him. That's how I convinced him to let me be the co-host.
Yeah. Well,
I was actually the last person he talked to
at
the end of the 24-hour podcast, and I'm like, hey man, I know you haven't been doing shows often. I know Justin is doing school. If you ever need any help, man, let me know. And he got a hold of me.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of him.
Yeah. What was that, JR?
No, wait, I forgot. I totally forgot what I was saying. I think okay. I was gonna say I'm a member on Duncan's Minecraft server.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm not into the gaming, and I'm not on anybody's forums. Like, you know.
You look like a gamer.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Sorry. I'm not. I used to have an Xbox, and all I used it for was Netflix, and then paying the Xbox, whatever the gold premium fucking thing is that you have to pay yearly. Like, fuck that. I'm not going to pay just to watch on top of paying for Netflix.
You're an artist.
Yeah, I just play real sports. I don't game either.
Real sports.
Yeah, I used to play basketball, but
literally real sports.
Yeah, like I play sports.
Aim or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I play like iPad games. I love iPad games because they're short.
Ray considers that a real sport.
Yeah, now I do.
You guys ever heard of the game Fallout?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Have you heard Okay, damn. This is going to be digging deep. There's a little mascot called Vault Boy in the video game. He's got like blonde hair, a blue suit. No idea, huh? Well, I have a massive stomach tattoo of that video game, basically. So I'm a gamer for real, man.
Oh, wow. Damn. So how covered are you with tattoos?
So when I started JR Customs, I said I'm gonna give myself, well, not give myself, but get a T-shirt of tattoos. So probably like 2 weeks before I left, I realized that dream. So I literally have a T-shirt of tattoos.
Nice. That's awesome, man. And that's all you have is like, and it's like cut off, like shaped just like a T-shirt and everything.
What it is I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I deal with a lot of white people with money. So what I do is, if you guys are watching the video feed, which you probably should anyway, you can't see that I have tattoos. You can't see, but soon as you go past like the T-shirt line, I mean, literally every single inch of the area that. Fuck it, I'm just gonna take my shirt off. Hold on.
Oh Jesus! The first ever. Yeah.
As you can see, right.
Nipple pinched. Great.
God, this is awkward. I have a T-shirt of tattoos, so it's every inch of what would be your T-shirt area. Can you see it?
Yeah. So
that's what I'm working with, man. So right before I moved out here, I finished the last piece, which was I have all these polka dots. Basically, the purpose of the polka dots was to fill in any empty space, to give it like a lot of density.
I was just gonna ask about the polka dots, if that's what they were.
The purpose was to fill in the space, man. So
it's our own version of locked up.
Yeah.
What's that rolling, homie?
All out tattoo, you know what I'm saying? I got my name across my chest and shit. You feel me? All
right. So you start JR Customs.
Wait, are you talking shit about me when I have my headphones?
No, absolutely not.
He was trying to ask a question.
Keith was, but I stopped him. I'm like, hey. Put those questions away. I was going to ask, like, so you start JR Custom. What's your process of making a fucking shirt? You do screen printing, correct?
Yeah. Obviously, like I said, I'm an artist as well, so I've got a pretty good handle on graphic design. So if I have a customer email me and they say, hey, I'm looking for a, pub crawl t-shirt, and we want a photo of a beer can with legs, I'll go online, I'll find that, I'll create digital art. I usually don't hand draw things, but I'm really good with typography, so, I'll just design something for them, email it to them, get approval, and get that money. That's it. It's super simple, man. It's a pretty easy job. It's a pretty easy gig I have, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but okay, so you do the design, then like what's the process of making a shirt?
Oh, dude, that's really boring. That fucking boring. Like you have to use chemicals to create these screens, and then you push a liquid ink through the screen after you're done making it, and it dries at 320 degrees. That part's really boring. The design part is pretty fun, and like meeting new people is fun, but the production part of it is pretty fucking dull, man. I'm not gonna lie. But what's cool is it gives me time to listen to all my podcasts. So it probably takes to print, let's say 100 shirts. It probably takes, if they're one color, it probably takes about an hour to like an hour and a half. So if I have 2-3 orders in a day, I'm able to, listen to like 3 or 4 podcasts. So I'm up on all my Death Squad podcasts. I mean, Bertcast, all the Death Squad feed, Joey's, Brody's, your mom.
Oh, did you hear Bert's last one?
Yeah, with like everybody.
The Easter egg. It was like his dad and Joey and. Yeah. His friend's mom, the Vietnamese lady. Yeah. That shit was that was great.
I think it was not David. Was it David Choi's mom, or was it
No, it was
Jared? No. Fuck.
Had said on the podcast before, I believe he said he wanted to get the mom on the podcast.
Yeah.
Almost 100% sure. But
I think it's the dude from Joe Schmo. Like
that's who it is.
Yeah, his mom. Okay. Yeah, no, that was I listened to that the other day. Yeah, that's the one thing about my job is I can't fucking listen to shit. Like I'm very limited as far as my time to listen to shit. So it's hard.
In my busy days of receptioning at a hair salon, I also can't listen to podcasts.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't. I gotta answer phones.
Phone schmones, man.
I gotta talk to people. I'm the entertainment for them while they're waiting. So I entertain people, which helps with the comedy thing anyway. So I've got a captive audience. They can't just run out. They have to wait through my set.
Keith, has anybody told you look like Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yes.
Oops.
No, I saw a picture of Tony Hinchcliffe with a bunch of my friends, and at first glance I go, oh my God, was I there? And I was like, oh fuck, that's Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't have a jacket that gay.
So when I went like a month ago, I got to see Tony perform at the Comedy Store. I had shouted something out like an asshole. Well, he was making a joke about how black people are more athletic than white. And
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And you bred us that way. I said, your people bred us that way. You castrated the skinny ones and you made the big healthy ones fuck. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, we have Django Unchained in the house, dude. He ripped that shit down. That was funny as fuck, man. Oh, he's a really funny guy. He's a bit of an asshole, but he's a funny guy.
Well, we all are. I mean, if you're a comic, like you just have to. And most comics I know, we make fun of people that we like. So if I don't like you, I won't even talk to you.
Okay.
But if I like you, I will rib you. Okay. You know, I'll feel people out. Like I know who I can maybe make fun of, but a lot of people, you know, they still take offense, and if they do, then they don't like me right off the rip, and we're cool then.
You guys heard the Death Squad secret shows where Tony will get on stage and mock Brody?
No.
Oh, Brody hates that shit. It kills him.
So funny. Anything Brody says, Tony comes up with like a quick punchline, like 10% gay. You know, it just, dude. He's mocking Brody, doing an impression of Brody, which is fantastic.
Fucking Brody. I went and saw last summer. I got Randall McMurphy hooked me up with some tickets to the Burn, and Brody does crowd warm up for that. Fucking that dude. I mean, I saw him do stand up at the Ice House just once before, I think, and yeah, it's almost like he's like that's I don't know, like you know him better than either of us do, but it's like he seems like that's him. He's like a character, but like he's not a character.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking real. Brody and I talked on Twitter. Let me mute my phone. Brody and Low Animal, what's up?
Oh fuck.
He said Low Animal just said that I took my shirt off and Ray Taylor started blushing.
I can't help it, man. He pinched his nipples. What am I supposed to do?
Started humming some sort of sexy music when I took my shirt off. Anyways, so damn, what the fuck was I saying? I was saying something about Brody. Oh,
Brody.
Yeah.
We started doing business maybe about a year ago, and I promised the people, you know, like Joey, Brian, who I DM every great once in a while, I said I'm gonna come out and visit you guys when I move out west. So my first time meeting Brody, I don't know how much you guys follow Brody, but he posts Vines and like Instagrams from the Coffee Bean. Well, that's where I met him, and that you want to talk about surreal, like walking up and meeting him and like. But the point I'm trying to say about Brody is that's Brody, man. He does put on and he puts a little extra energy, but that is Brody, man. Like
he feels awkward. He is awkward on stage, and he like even when you tell him that you love him, like you can see in his eyes that he's just shaking your hand in disbelief, like, oh what? And you're like, no, you're hilarious. He's like, thanks, and you're like, what? No, I just want to tell you, really, thank you very much, I guess. You're like,
another dude that's really him, man. And even like when him and I do business, his persona, like the awkwardness and some of like, you know, how like he'll say on his podcast, like, you know, he's not too good with, you know, dealing with the business end. That's real shit, man. Like, you know, you have no idea how long it took for me to get Brody to allow me to make shirts for him. And the deal that I gave Brody was sweet. Like, Brody doesn't do anything but sell. Brody doesn't he doesn't even touch the shirts. All he has to do is promote, which is really what an artist should do, because most artists aren't good business people. Most good business people aren't artists.
Yeah.
And it took him a really long time to sign on, but now the train is rolling, and it's growing. And
yeah, if I ever make money, I'm fucked because I don't know shit about anything business wise, but I'm funny. That's the only thing I got going.
That's debatable.
Debatable, yes, I know.
Yeah,
I have my moments.
Yeah, no, you make
which I try to
people
capture and recreate on stage.
Yeah. Well, you're new, so eventually you'll get there.
Yeah.
Right. Ari had the thing. You have to bomb 100 times before you've made it, and it seems like every show you're adding a new one to that checklist.
Hey, I had a
good
show last show, motherfucker.
Sorry, man, I just gotta throw some shit back.
And I didn't bomb at the All Black Club like I did the first time.
No shit.
Because I don't know shit about black. Like you said, you were raised around white people. Like my village that I grew up in,
the huts.
Yeah. There was one half black kid in my class, and he grew up around all white people, so he was not black at all. Like, I don't know shit about... What I know about black people is what the late 80s and early 90s portrayed as about black people, which is the word... You guys had bad PR back then. Because it was gangster rap and crack.
I mean, I love Lil Wayne, but he's not doing anything to uplift the culture. But you know what? Who gives a fuck? Everything's organic. You know what? Okay, this is how I feel about stereotypes. Stereotypes wouldn't hold up if they weren't true, right? So, if I put out a stereotype like white people love shining their shoes, that's not going to hold up because there's no truth to it. But if there's a stereotype like black people love chicken and watermelon, that happens to be the case, and half of my family is black. Yeah, I mean bliggity black. I'm talking like from the city, and I grew up with them, and I mean my immediate surroundings was like the educated, like Oprah Winfrey type mom where she doesn't speak hood, but I had that part of my family. So if they're creating a culture on their own, if they're creating these negative stereotypes, there's nothing we can do about it. Fuck it. Let them do what they got to do. You know what I mean? But
I honestly thought like my dad drops the N-bomb like it's going out of style, but I don't like he's racist, but I don't think he's really racist. Like I don't know how to explain that because he loves sports.
It's like
but
testing the waters of racism.
No, because he'll say it in front of anyone. He doesn't care, and it's happened in front of a couple black people where it got real uncomfortable. Wow. But this is just what I grew up with. I'm not condoning any of this, but like he loves sports. Most sports, professional sports, are played by black people.
True.
So. If you play for his team and you're doing well, go. But if you fuck up, you stupid. And I'm like, Dad.
Almost said it, didn't you?
Almost.
Hey, again, just like Louis C.K. says, when I say the N-word or the N-bomb, I'm just putting that word into other people's heads, so I'm essentially saying it.
Yeah, you're
like it's just the word. Like to me, like because I never really mean it with any malice or anything. Just like anyone else uses it, like Joe Rogan said, I feel ripped off sometimes that I can't use it. It's a cool word.
Yeah.
I would be quick to slap somebody depending on the context. So, if I've been in situations where I've been out and I overheard it and I'm like, what'd you just say? You go up to the guy and say, what'd you just say? And, oh, you got a problem? Well, see, now I know he said it with malice. But if it's one of my friends or somebody I know and they throw it out there, and especially if it's nigga as opposed to nigger, that's not, because I know your intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I have a good story about something like that. I went to jail for DUI like 5 years ago, and I was in the holding tank when I first got there with a kid who was from Africa, right? So I got to do 3 days, so I'm in there, I'm waiting, and then they give me my shit, and they take me down to my cell block, and everyone always like rushes the new guy. That they want to know what's going on anywhere else and everything. So they're asking me questions, and there's one black guy in there, and everyone's like, "Who are you up there in the holding tank with?" And I go, "I don't know, some African kid." And the black guy stands, and he looks just like D.L. Hughley. Like a skinny D.L. Hughley. Like, I swear to God. Like, you might as well have had the birthmark on his face. Like, it's spitting image. And that's just not me saying that all black people look the same. But when I said African, he stood up and he goes, "What? Because he was black? He was fucking African? What the fuck?" I go...
You need to say African American?
No, I just said African. He was fucking from Africa.
What's African?
Like the continent.
Okay.
And that's how I had to say it to the, like, he goes, "What?" And he got done with his big speech, like puffing up. And I go, "No, like from Africa. The continent."
Scared were you?
Not. I wasn't. Like, again, he was skinny.
Peed a little.
Like, and at that time, like, I was,
Yeah.
like, I'm about 6'1", and I was about 190 at the time.
Wow,
Like, I was, I was hitting the gym hard, like 5 days a week. So, and plus I had just walked in there and had been giving myself the mindset of like, nobody's going to fuck with me.
Nobody's going to rape me in this prison.
Plus, again, I always can pull the funny card too. That helps a lot. Like, everyone knows, like, if you're not funny, like, that's not going to help. But it was just so happens that it was so, like, everyone else laughed their ass off right when I was like, no, he was fucking from Africa. Like the continent. And he was like, oh, because he went on this big speech about, like, I'm not black. Like, it turned into him going, "I'm not black, I'm brown, motherfucker." And then I'm like, well, it's not like I'm going to go, "Hey, I'm peach." Like, I don't, like, there's different hues of every color.
African people don't consider themselves black. Did you know that?
They're just African. They're just people.
Yeah.
There.
Well, yes and no. So basically, like, an African will call an African American black, but if you call an African black, no, he's African. It's I don't know. People try to tribe up. People try to, like...
I've
Yeah.
heard that Africans don't really think highly of black people from here.
And I respect. I mean, when you look, when the Africans that I know are very, like, they're honored. They're like fucking Lion King. You know what I'm saying? Ah, si penya. And then, like, the black guys that I know, most of them are, fucking thugging. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I can see where they're coming from with that.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, enough of Keith's fucking
Prison
racial
stories.
Yeah. So who was the first Death Squad comedian that you started doing work for or work with?
Joey Diaz. That story's probably the coolest because Joey is, like I said, to me, the most important Death Squad guy. He's just number one. So the story goes like this. Do you remember Beauty and the Beast podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the height of Beauty and the Beast podcast, I discovered Joey through hearing him on the Joe Rogan Experience. And then on the Joe Rogan Experience, he mentioned Beauty and the Beast. So I went and downloaded one episode of the podcast, and there's something magic about that fucking guy, man. Like, there's just something magic about the way he talks. So I downloaded every episode and worked my way through. And at the end of listening to every episode, I sent him an email. Or no, I sent him a piece of art that I did, which is now the Beauty and the Beast t-shirt logo. And I said, I'm thinking about making you some shirts, just sending you a couple shirts. I sent him a box of 50 shirts. And this is why. I made sure to let him know that I was not interested in selling him. I wasn't actually trying to sell him on shirts. These artists, these podcasters, they do, and you too, Ray, you guys do this shit for free. Like, you put this energy out there not knowing if you're going to make money. So for me to sit there and absorb, if they had 100 episodes, for me to absorb 200 hours of free entertainment and not give something back, but I have something to give, I feel foul. So that was how this whole thing started, was with me sending Joey a box of 50 shirts and just saying, look, this is on the house. This is my way of saying thank you for giving all of us all this free entertainment. And I think they tried selling some shirts, and we set them up an online store, but the podcast ended up ending, and I know why, because Joey told me.
Oh shit! Can
tell you? But yeah, the podcast is definitely I doubt it's gonna come back. But anyways, that was how this whole thing started. So that turned into, hey dog, I want to do shirts for this show in Buffalo. So I was living in New York at the time. He sent me some money. I made him some shirts, and I got to see him live and bring him shirts that he sold there. And then that turned into me setting up an online store, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
That's sick. So you can't talk about why that podcast ended?
Oh,
okay.
But
that's fine.
But it's over. Yeah, it's over, man.
Yeah. It's all good. I mean, it's like it shows, like, there's been so many different variations of this show that it's not surprising. And it's hard. I mean, you are doing it for free. You have to have, I mean, for me, I don't intend on making money doing this show. But what the show does, I mean, one, it's something I enjoy doing. And, you know, it's also going to help with other things I'm doing. So it's not going to help directly, but, you know, indirectly it's definitely going to be beneficial to what the grand scheme of what I want to do does, which I just noticed setting up for the show. I went to your site and I didn't notice it before, that you do a podcast. How often do you do a podcast?
I gave a good crack at it, man. I don't do it anymore, but
okay.
It was the same thing. It was with my boy Troy in New York, and I don't know. He's never gonna hear this, so it don't. Basically, when you do a podcast with someone, or no, let me rephrase that. When you're starting something with someone, whether it's a business, whether it's an idea, when one person is putting in an exorbitant amount more work than the other, you know, you lose interest, man. So basically, I would be promoting the hell out of it on Facebook, Twitter, and he did this one thing that I'll never forget. He put up when we did the second episode, he put the link up on Facebook, but he put Jayarr made me do this, lol. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So that sets a precedent, like, oh, I'm being forced to do this. And I don't know if it's me being sensitive, but it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, you know, I would promote it all week, throughout the week. He wouldn't help me book guests. He wouldn't do any promotion. And the thing is, Troy has like 3,000 followers. I had 156 at the time. So there's really no point in me doing all the promotion.
Yeah.
Like, really, I don't mind producing it, but really he should be doing all the promotion. So instead of bitching and whining, it just fizzled out, man. But I tell you what, I have never had more fun messing with audio, and like I had like an M box set up with like a bunch of nice microphones, and the podcast was fun as fuck, man. It was really fun to do.
Did you ever think about doing it again?
No. I still have the equipment, but no. I think the reason that I created that podcast was to try to like become a part of this podcasting network. Yeah. But I'm here now. Like I have personal relationships with people that I'm a fan of. Like I probably talk to Vicky Pezza more than anybody, and when Vicky and I talk, and she'll confirm this, it's a minimum of an hour every time. And we're not just talking about t-shirts. Like we're talking about everything, her life, my life. And so I think I've scratched that itch at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. So what are your plans with JR Customs and all that?
Well, I do everything by myself. So right now, my dream is to grow the business to where I can support, a woman and a child. And but my goal, believe it or not, my long-term goal is to make it so I never have to hire employees, because the freedom that I have here, like I wake up when I want, I roll into work with shitty clothes on. I don't have to be here waiting on an employee. I don't have to lock my shit up so an employee doesn't steal. I don't have to worry about payroll and all those things that are like, you know, that's real business stuff. Like I'm still able to pay all my bills, have some money extra, and do it all myself. So really, that's my long-term goal, is to create a business where it's very successful. I can raise a family on it if I had to, but have it be just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wanted to grow just enough to where I can do it all myself. I wanted to grow just enough to where I'm making about 60 grand a year, but it's just me here, you know?
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's weird how, like, so many people, well, I mean, it's kind of the American dream. You want to be rich and famous or just rich, you know? But it's like, if the realistic number for so many people is way lower than rich, that, like, if that's what their goal is, like, if they found that number that, you know, that would make them happy, like, I could live comfortably this way and not be stressed out and just kind of, you know, live the lifestyle I'd like to live, then it would be way different. You know, but so many people, they have, you know, which is kind of good but kind of bad, because it, you know, it motivates some people to do more than they, you know, normally would, but at the same time it, you know, scares people away from doing, you know, even trying or attempting to like create that on their own. So many people fall victim to the whole day job, you know, 9 to 5, you know, just being a sheep and working for somebody else and not actually putting forth, you know, what the talents and abilities they can do.
And nobody tells you that it's possible.
Yeah.
Like,
have you read Timothy Ferriss? Are you into Tim Ferriss?
Heard every podcast Tim Ferriss has been on. He's been on the Joe Rogan Experience a bunch of times. Actually, I think he was on recently.
Yeah, he was. You need to. I finally got a few of his books. What was that?
Sex at Dawn?
No. That's somebody else. Tim Ferriss is the 4-Hour Work Week, 4-Hour Body, 4-Hour Shift.
You know what bit of advice I took from him? He was on JRE. He said that you can lose weight by taking cold showers. So, like, I never take hot showers anymore. So yeah, you're right. He has like the series of 4-hour
But
workout.
You should check out the 4-Hour Work Week. I've listened to, I got that on Audible. 4-Hour Work Week and the 4-Hour Body. 4-Hour Body is super fucking interesting because he does a lot of the you know, the body hacks, like the biohacking, taking certain supplements and, you know, taking certain things and eating certain ways to manipulate the body into acting a certain way. But the 4-Hour Work Week is, I mean, it's kind of set up for, it's set up for entrepreneurs, but it's also set up for people that work the 9 to 5, trying to get out of it, in kind of the Silicon Valley sort of setting. But for me, like, part of what he's talking about is how to set up a system, a business that can generate money for you, so you don't have to put in more effort than is needed to live the life. And one of the things that he talks about is finding that number. Like, if you can find the number that you want to make a year and you reverse engineer that number down to what you actually need to do, the steps involved to reach that goal are way more attainable than anybody would normally think, because most people think that you got to shoot for the stars, you got to be like a multimillionaire, you know. But it's fucking great. Like, his books are like super inspirational, you know, for me anyway. Not necessarily directly, but it definitely raises ideas and things that you wouldn't think of that would be like, oh, it would be so difficult to do this thing. But he breaks it down to where it's like, you know, it's actually not that difficult. But aside from that, yeah, that just it reminded me when you were talking about what your goals are. You know, you want to get to this certain number, and you know, it's, I don't know. I think you'd enjoy it. I'm a big fan.
I used to think being wealthy was important, and I'll be 31 in May, and if there's anything I've gathered in like the last 6 years of my life, is that this is just my opinion, but being wealthy is the opposite of what you want to be. You actually want to be balanced. You actually want to still. Here's a for instance, right? I did shirts for a lady who owned a jewelers, Cornell Jewelers in New York, and her and I. So she bought some blank shirts for me with no printing, and I didn't upcharge her on the shirts, but another business tried to. So she goes, well, why don't you just charge me like an extra 25 cents a shirt, and so you can make money? I said, my goal is not to make money off of you. My goal is I'm not doing anything. It takes me 2 seconds to order the shirts and get them sent to you. My goal is just to develop a personal relationship. Then we got into the conversation of money. So this is a lady who married into money. This is a lady who married a guy who owned the jewelers, and she became who she is through him. So me trying to explain to her, so Here's an example she gave me. Well, don't you want to make more money so you can do things like take your girlfriend on vacation whenever you want? Well, no, because the sting of the desire to take her on vacation is you still want to have that for the purpose of staying grounded. If I ever got to a point where I could take 3 vacations a year, what else is there to hunger for? You know, we have to keep some sort of desire. We have to keep a way to stay grounded. You know what I mean? To stay somewhere in the middle, because being completely broke fucking blows. But you know what? Being completely wealthy and having no worries and no concerns, that blows as well. Reason being, human beings are not designed for ease of life. We're designed for something in between where it's kind of difficult, but it's kind of easy. Something like a flawless balance. So when I say 60 grand, 60 grand will be enough for me to live, a woman to live, and a child to live, but not to live well. To still have the desire of going on vacation, to still have that sting of want. You know, well, we can't buy the grass-fed beef this week. You know what I mean? Like, we have to buy the shittier steaks. I mean, do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want to be spoiled, but also you want to have the hunger. Like if you lose the hunger for what you're doing, then you lose the passion for what you're doing, and then what you do becomes a 9-to-5 day job, and nobody fucking likes a 9-to-5 day job. You know, you don't want to turn what you enjoy doing for a living into a quote-unquote job.
I've totally lived like that. Like my last job, I made almost $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's 40 grand a year. That's nothing to shake a stick at, man.
With overtime and everything, it could be up to 40 grand. But let's say it was about 18. Let's say 18. But I hated it. I worked it for 8 years. I was a prototype technician. I programmed CNC benders to bend tubes and shit, and used computers to measure them for new model cars, or old brake lines and fuel lines that went out of production. They had to be handmade, so we'd make those and shit. And I made good money, and I lived comfortable, and I even fucking sold drugs on the side.
Ooh, you're dry snitching on yourself right now.
I don't give a... That's the statute of limitation on that shit is way over. Like that, I ain't worked that job in forever. So
You're retired.
Yeah, I've retired a long time ago. But I was making bank, and I was unhappy. And now like I said, I work at a receptionist at a fucking hair salon, make minimum wage, and do comedy and get paid for it once a month. Yeah. And even though I struggle, and sometimes I don't get to eat what I want to eat, and sometimes, man, there ain't no food in the house.
Yeah.
And it's well, I guess I'm gonna eat some peaches and peas for dinner, because that's what's here. And I'm still way happier than I ever was when I had the money to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted.
There's something about the desire that makes you appreciate things so much more. So right now, if we went out and we got grilled asparagus and a tenderloin, I mean, you'd appreciate that so much more if you ate that once a week, you know? So I'd rather have the desire. I come from a lower middle class home, and it wasn't a bad life, man. It wasn't a bad life. I mean, the car would break down and I'd have to take the bus, when I was younger. And, it's just that's the life. It's weird to say that I would want to give a life of slight difficulty to my children, but that breeds interesting people, there's
got to be a struggle in life to make life interesting, because what the fuck do you we're watching Justin Bieber right now implode because that poor kid was goddamn Michael Jackson famous at 15.
Yeah.
Who are the world's biggest cunts? I mean, Kim Kardashian, the fucking Gotti boys, or whatever, the Gotti brothers, these young debutantes who are in Hollywood getting
Paris Hilton.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the world's biggest cunts. Yeah. So I'd rather not live that life. I'd rather live a modest life. I don't know if you guys watch my Vines, but every Saturday I go longboarding. That's how I spend my day. I just that's the life I want.
Yeah. I've always said that one of the best lessons you can learn in life is to learn how to live poor. Like, if you know how to live poor, like get by on like little to no money. Like, I remember just like no money I was going to go play basketball, needed to eat something. So I'd go in and like stealing. I had these fucking shorts, these cargo shorts that had like a second pocket behind the side pocket, and like, you know, you get power bars and they just slide right in, and it's, you know, you get really good at stealing medicine. You get sick, you don't have any insurance, you learn how to steal fucking Sudafed in hot dog wrappers at AM/PM.
I spent, actually, when you mentioned that you went to jail, Keith, I got first and only time I got arrested was for stealing. So, and if I tell you what it is, you have to promise not to judge me.
Okay. Yeah, no judgment.
I got arrested from Walmart. I was 19 years old. No, I was 18 years old. I got caught with, okay, if you steal, this is advice for you kiddies at home. If you steal from Walmart, make sure you steal less than $13 worth of merchandise, because if it's less than 13, they won't arrest you and they won't call the cops. If it's a penny over 13, they'll arrest you. My total was like $13.41. You know what I fucking stole? Pens, because I'm an artist. Pokemon. I was stealing and selling these fucking Pokemon keychain toys and some bubble gum. So it was like $13.41. So of course the cop comes and he's looking at me like I'm insane. I didn't look like this, by the way. I was like 270 pounds of pure flab. But he's looking at me like I'm insane, and I didn't have any excuse. Like, I told him it was for the thrill, and I make a little money selling these Pokemon stickers and keychains, and but yeah, I've been arrested. I know this. I've stolen a lot of things in my life, man. Not anymore though.
Yeah, no, I don't do it anymore. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like you get into a position where you're like, okay, I need to eat, and if I'm sick, I need to get medicine. So it's like you really strip down what the bare necessities of life are. You're not thinking about fucking getting a new phone. You're not thinking about all these, the new thing you could spend money on, this new gadget or toy. Well, I guess you would.
I haven't had a phone in 9 months.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
I have not had a telephone in 9 months.
I wouldn't know what to do without my cell phone, man.
I wouldn't either.
You know what? I thought about that. That's how I felt at first too. But remember, you're my age. You grew up without one.
Right, man. But
so you know how to live without one.
But I also know the benefits of having the second brain that remembers way better than I do.
Oh.
See, all right, you can see me through this thing right here.
Correct.
So this is just my giant cell phone. You just got to think of this as my cell phone is huge.
Totally.
I have a 17-inch screen on my cell phone.
Whoa, that's way.
But I don't
bigger
carry
than
it
the Galaxy
anywhere, so
S
it's
now.
not really a cell phone. It's a landline.
Yeah.
I actually run a big portion of my business off of my phone. So a lot of the reason why my customers work with me as opposed to the next man is because of my immediate response. So I email them back as soon as they email me. I'll email while I'm driving. They're able to call me when they want. So this is crucial. I actually have an iPhone tattoo tramp stamp, ironically. That's kind of crazy, but that is definitely 100% definitely a true thing.
At least you didn't say not to judge you about that. So judging.
My friend has a tramp stamp that says "people equal shit" in bloody letters.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, we may as well enjoy this ride because they ain't gonna last forever, man.
I have a giant back piece of a band that I loved intently for years, and now they had to switch one of their lead singers, and they suck now. So now I have a giant Mushroomhead, the band.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, they're from Cleveland. They're metal, they're like an underground metal band.
I haven't either.
It's a sweet tattoo, though.
Yeah.
Was it important to you at the time? So I don't.
Oh, it means so. Like, me and 8 of my friends have the same tattoo in different places on our body. I just want the biggest. So it has significant meaning of what I experienced through that band with my friends in that time. Like, I've got so many stories about going. I spent so much time in Cleveland, and I live about 2.5 hours away from Cleveland, that people that lived there thought that me and my friends lived there too. And then we were like, no, we live like 3 hours away, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, you're here every weekend. I'm like, "Yeah, I know. We drive."
I just got a problem. Hey, you guys want to take a quick break or just me?
Sure. I mean, I'm good, but sure.
Keith, are you good? I gotta take a leak.
I'm good. I've taken a couple breaks. I had to piss a few times.
Before we started?
What's that? Why I did, but I gotta go again. Jesus, I'm getting judged right now. You have a tramp stamp of an iPhone. Like, you're judging my bladder right now. All right, you guys talk. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Yo, Keith, man, I'm glad to meet you, man. I wish, when I first realized that Ray had a host, I thought you lived in San Diego near him, so I got excited about coming out, and I'm hoping that when I come out, which will be the end of April, that Ray and I will do like some sort of podcast. Like, we're thinking about maybe going to the La Jolla Comedy Store and doing a podcast outside and maybe chatting with some of the comedians. But it's too bad you don't live out this way, man. Do you have coming out?
Yeah, I want to. Me and Ray are actually going to start a Kickstarter to try to get donations to fly me out there, and then I'll do some comedy out there, and then me and Ray will do. We wanted to go skydiving and do a podcast before and after that. Yeah, I've never been. He's been before.
Because Jill wants to come out too, I think this summer. So I told Jill that I'd like us all to get together, like just have like a Death Squad meetup. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm from Ohio, so we have all the Death Squad meetups here.
Okay, but here's the thing: you guys are in Ohio. All our friends, like the people that we're into, they're all at the Comedy Store every night.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. We did a podcast with the Teeb from the Comedy Store. Like, he called in from the Comedy Store.
Listen, but all of us getting together, making an effort to fly to LA and go to the Comedy Store, that would be major. That would be fucking amazing. Can you imagine how fun that would be? The footage.
Oh, dude, I would fucking lose it. Like, and again, doing comedy, like, it's my dream. Like, and plus, I'm sure if I talk to enough people, I could get someone to get me, like, even a 3-minute fucking set somewhere.
If you got Death Squad to rally behind you and start bugging these guys, ahead of time, and if we told them the date, I'm sure you could get on stage, especially if we were documenting it. Yeah, because the Death Squad guys, the comics, they do support the community. I mean, as you know, Gareth Reynolds came on your podcast like it was nothing. That's these guys are good people, and
that's just like the Teeb. Like, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I saw it come up on my people that I follow on the side, and I just instant message him. I'm like, hey man, I do a podcast. We've had Vicky on before. Would you? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's good.
I was like, what the fuck?
The only downside, I haven't been to the Comedy Store, never been there, but I would love to go. But the only downside is that Joe Rogan would not go. Whereas if we did something like a meetup, if we did a meetup at the Ice House, he would probably go. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think Joe would show up at any Death Squad meetup, even if it was.
Oh, that's true. Well, if they had a Death Squad show, going on at the Ice House,
yes,
and he just was there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that if all of us committed to setting a date, flying in, all these Death Squad CT, Jill Himitsu, Death Squad Harlem, like all these guys who are Death Squad heavy, if we set a time to meet up in LA, in Hollywood, and we all congregated at the Comedy Store, dude, we'd have so much fun. I had a lot of fun.
Hey, how long have you been on Twitter, like, following, like, this whole scene?
Yeah.
Not long, maybe like a year.
Yes, yeah, I've done I think I'm on, like, year 2 of this. Like, this little community has grown in really weird ways.
Yeah.
I agree. It was so small and then tight-knit, and then our friend Perfect Ugly, he started the list, and everyone started hashtagging Death Squad in their bio or whatever, and then people started following people from that. But I don't know. I just think it's amazing how it turned in from like a tiny little community to just like any town where once you get to city status, you get subgroups.
Yeah.
People that are cunts who still like the same shit that you like, but I don't know.
Did you guys see the Death Squad drama today with Death Squad at Death Squad Voice?
No.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that person.
I haven't either. What was it?
They're calling him a troll. Basically, Mitch Nutter, who I think has the Hiding from My Wife podcast.
Yep.
He said to Mitch Nutter something to the effect of, I don't know, what the fuck did he say? Oh, he said something like he's in violation, like he said something that's in violation of Death Squad code. Dude, fucking late it, whoever this Death Squad voice guy is. But can I ask you guys about something? I've been dying to chat with some guys who are aware of this Death Squad thing.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys have any idea what happened with Monkey Todd like a couple months back, where like he crazy rant saying he created Death Squad, and like do you guys know anything?
Yeah,
okay.
We're very well versed on this.
Okay, yeah. That's actually how a lot of Death Squad found out. What was that?
If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
No, it's cool. We've talked about it before, and it's interesting, and it's, for those that are new listeners, they can find out now. That's how a lot of people found out about this podcast in the Death Squad community, because I've been a fan of the Rogan podcast from day one, the fucking snowflakes. I've been a fan of Joe Rogan, not knowing that he was in all these things, news radio, UFC, Fear Factor, all this shit, just throughout my life. It just happened, and then, anyway. So I do a podcast because a few nights before I was watching the Ice House Chronicles, and before that, Monkey Todd had done the prank call things for TMZ and things like that, so he was known, and I had linked up with him on Twitter or something like that. I posted a thing. It's like, if you like, just trying to get more listeners for the podcast, if you like Joe Rogan Experience, you might like this podcast. And I think he started listening. Yeah. And shortly after that, the brief connection on Twitter, he deletes his Twitter, deletes his Facebook. Next thing you know, he's in LA, and he's on the Ice House Chronicles, and I'm watching it live, and I watch everything that happens. So the next day, whenever we recorded next, Justin was my co-host at the time, and I was just going through I was just explaining everything that happened, and that was kind of the first thing. He kind of disappeared for a while, came back on Twitter. I don't know about Facebook, but he came back on Twitter, and he was different. He was, he had said he talked some shit to Joe Rogan and some other stuff. And then he was on one of the podcasts that's on my network, Organized Chaos, had Monkey Todd on as a guest. But Johnny, the dude that does that podcast, didn't really know the backstory of everything that went on. So when Monkey Todd came on, he was saying that he was dehydrated and that he was just confused. And clearly, if you watch the video, it's not dehydration. I've been dehydrated many times, and it wasn't a very honest thing.
I'll put it this way: I've done a lot of drugs, and I know what drugs do to people.
Yeah,
and that dude was on drugs. I get it.
I mean, if you watch the podcast, he didn't believe people were people. He had to I almost guarantee he listens to this podcast still, but that's fine.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't either. But he distrusted people who, he didn't believe Doug Benson was Doug Benson. He had to see everybody's ID. He didn't believe who they were. Anyway, you move on a few months or whatever. One of the dudes who wasn't even part of my network, Inspired Disorder Collective is a podcast network that I started with Postal Poet, who actually brought me into the Death Squad network and Mish the Dish. But one of the dudes that wasn't even in the network had asked Monkey Todd to retweet a $5 coupon code for Tuck and Toke. Okay. Based on that, Monkey Todd thought that Johnny, the dude that interviewed him for the podcast, this dude Randall McMurphy, if you've ever heard his podcast, The Cuckoo's Nest, he has a deep black voice. And Postal Poet, who's a Mexican who lives in Texas, he thought, well, actually, Johnny lives in Texas too, but all three have very distinct different voices. He thought they were all the same person, and he thought that my network was taking advantage of Death Squad. and he went on this tirade of saying anybody with IDC hashtag or Inspired Disorder Collective hashtag is a troll. They are making this shit up. They're just trying to make money on the Death Squad name and all this stuff. And from the get-go, I made sure to, when because I wanted to start a network before Death Squad, but Death Squad definitely influenced how I set up the IDC. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't using Death Squad in any of my stuff. I wanted to make sure it was my brand, and I'm not taking Brian Redband's brand. And it went this whole tirade. It was huge drama. And then there was another. What was the second one, Keith? What was the second time? Oh, Izzy Rock. One of the nicest.
He snapped on Izzy that one time. That was the second, and then
that was the second time.
He attacked our network again. Like,
did he?
And this was after. This was after you had unfollowed him or whatever.
Yeah, I blocked him a lot. And
so he attacked everyone again in IDC, and I had always been neutral on the situation. I just thought this guy's got fucking mental problems, whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to fuck with him. And then he did it again, and it was just one of those nights where I was having a bad night.
Yeah.
And I never engage people in like a fuck you. And it was one of those, I was like, dude, why don't you fucking go fuck yourself? Because you're talking shit about something my friend created, something I helped distribute, something that, like, Ray gave me the opportunity to co-host this, which truly gives me it's like open mic night for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I can say funny shit, like, even if it's not funny. Like, I'll find out if it's funny or not.
Yeah, we're all still waiting for that part, Keith.
Hey, man. How many times have you went on stage, motherfucker?
Well, whatever. That's not neither here nor there, Keith. Anyway, back to the story. So anyway, I don't have anything personal. I mean, aside from the fact that he's tried to trash my network a bunch of times and trash friends of mine. Like, Izzy Rock is one of the nicest fucking dudes I've ever met. He has a podcast, Tales from the Hard Side.
Met?
I've never met. I've met him online.
I've met him.
Whatever. Anyway,
he slept at my house before.
The fact that anybody would try to trash.
Shit. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to know what your experimental time is with Izzy Rock. I don't. Anyway, Keith, Jesus Christ, what was I saying? Anyway.
You were saying that he trashed your network.
Yeah. Izzy's like one of the nicest fucking guys, and he was complaining that Izzy was like plagiarizing. He thought Izzy was taking Monkey Todd's tweets and reposting them as his own, and it was, as every argument from that dude is, it doesn't make any sense, and I just hope the dude gets help, and I'm fine. Like, every time he blows up, it seems like I have a surge of followers. So whatever. He is what he is, and he used to be relevant, but at this point, if you look at I stumbled across. I talked to Keith about this last week, I think. Somehow stumbled across his Vine. I was watching somebody else's Vine, and underneath it was like Death Squad, Death Squad, Death Squad, like just fucking spammed out Death Squad, and it was his. So I went to go see what videos he's posting, and it's all like edited videos of times that people have shouted him out on Death Squad podcast, but edited in a way to make it seem like it fulfills his ideal that he was the one who created Death Squad, and not the fact that they got the name from Opie and Anthony, which is the most confusing part, is that he has these ideals, and he's definitely helped the Death Squad community in a lot of ways, but by no means did he create it. I did not find out about the Twitter Death Squad community. Postal Poet and Mish the Dish were the ones that keyed me into that. So it's like, he's in his own world, which is fine, as long as he doesn't fuck with me. Personally, like, online is fine, but
I thought it was really exciting, man, just watching that whole thing. And I don't say shit. Like, I don't have nothing to say, but I find it very interesting when people lose their shit.
But if he were to have talked shit about your brand.
Yeah, if he said
your t-shirt brand.
The word. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I have a personal relationship with famous people that me. They call me to talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't think they're calling Monkey Todd. No offense, Monkey Todd, but I doubt they're calling him to say what's good.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah,
I've also talked, off the record, and I'm not going to say with who, but with people in the scene out there who have talked about this with me, and they're like, have you followed this crazy motherfucker? And like, even they're like, people in the Death Squad who are just like, this guy is fucking insane. Like, he's attacked Rogan and Red Band.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We've already talked about him too much on this show.
Yeah, it's
but
it's
we're
not promoting him.
I know, but just the fact that we say his name, people who don't know about him now know about him, and now they're interested. It's like, I want to see that. Actually, if you are interested, go watch that Ice House Chronicles.
13, I think it is. I'm almost 100% sure it's 13.
And if not, you can, if you find, I forget what episode I talked about on this show, find that. I also describe it. But anyway, it's sad. It brings the community down. And if I wasn't trying to create something that just happened to be involved, like Keith said, it's this Death Squad's like a city, and I think of the Inspired Disorder Collective as like this little neighborhood that's near that city. That's also we're also neighboring like the UFC community, and we're neighboring the art community, and all these different things, and
the comedy and
the comedy thing. Yeah, we're really trying to relate with the comedy thing. Keith is hopefully going to fulfill that aspect of it at some point when he starts being funny. But so it's it is what it is. But Death Squad itself, I'm a fan. It's definitely made me modify the way I do things just to try to avoid further, confusion or whatever. I don't know, but enough of that.
I think it's gotten to everyone a little bit with the slight idiosyncrasies of what they do day to day, whether it's their diet or their workout.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every aspect of their life.
It permeates or how you look at life itself, whether it's Neil deGrasse Tyson being on there, or it's fucking Daniela Bellelli,
who's
anyone like
next
that.
week is going to be on the show.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, I think we're doing 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern next week. I believe is.
I don't think it's on Sunday either.
It should be on Sunday. I'll check with Jill. Anyway, next week we'll confirm.
Next week.
We'll confirm. But yeah, Daniel Bellelli's going to be on. We were trying to get him on a little while ago, but he got sick mysteriously. And we're finally going to get him on. It's going to be fucking badass. But yeah, we've met so many fucking amazing people, interesting people, and the community itself has grown. And it's crazy that this community grew from like comedians. But so what were you into comedy before you got into Death Squad and the podcast and all that?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, dude, not really, man. I can't even tell you what led me to listening to the Joe Rogan Experience. But somehow
YouTube. I know it was YouTube.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was, because I was searching through videos and I heard him talking about space and like weed. Oh, that's what it was. I was starting to. By the way, I just started smoking weed a year ago, so it was actually Joe Rogan's 2 years ago. It was Joe Rogan's podcast that actually led me to smoking weed. So through that, I started following the different comedians and then really getting involved, and then here I am. But yeah, I was not really a comedy fan. I had always, I had my favorites like Eddie Murphy, but I wasn't really, my fingers weren't as sunk in as they are now,
So do you find yourself, have you gone to any of their shows yet?
Oh, live shows?
Yeah.
Oh, when I was in Hollywood, I saw Brody. I saw performing. I saw perform. I saw Hinchcliffe perform. I saw Benji Aflalo perform. Nick Youssef. Do you guys know Josh Fadem?
No, not familiar.
Brody's podcast, probably like 20 episodes ago. But I went and saw Josh Fadem. A couple other guys, but Yeah, it's been tough because I used to live in a city. Rochester is where I grew up, and not a lot of comics come there, especially Death Squad comedians. But May 9th, Ari and Joey are coming here, and we're gonna meet up. And
Nice.
And one really fun story I gotta tell you real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you another story.
Okay.
Joey and I were chatting one day, and I looked at a schedule for Ralphie May's show. Now, Ralphie May came here on New Year's Eve, and it was a completely sold out show. So I sent Joey an email saying, "Is there any chance that you can get me into this show? Like, I don't even care if I have to stand way in the back. I've just never seen Ralphie May perform, and I know they're personal friends." So I get an email back. He got you a table. So I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's fucking badass. Thank you so much, man. This is finally your chance to give back to me. You did me right." Dude, I got there. It was right up by the stage. It was VIP. Like, they had my name on a fucking card, and we had like the most badass New Year's dinner paid for by Ralphie. Well, Ralphie and his wife, and it was like filet mignon and like champagne, and so that was like probably the coolest thing that's happened to me through this whole, like, my connection with Death Squad is Joey making a call and me getting in VIP to see Ralphie May show.
That's badass, dude. I haven't seen Ralphie, but
Second story that Ray, you probably remember me telling you, but Keith, you don't know. I'm actually going to be on TV on Comedy Central in the fall, and the way the way that happened, and I can't say who it is, but one of my clients, you can do the math. I swear to God, I just saw a fucking door open behind me in this stream. You never seen a black man get up and run, but I swear to God, if somebody walks through that door, you'd be like, damn, did he just glitch out of it? Anyways, so one of my clients is filming a second season of a new TV show, of his TV show, and they actually like came here and actually shot a portion of the show, so I'm actually going to be on TV. That's fucking crazy, man.
That's awesome.
that is badass.
Coolest thing that's happened. So I mean, and we're talking like a real setup. Like, they came with lights, and I had the mic. Like, they had the big ass, that big ass boom mic that they hang in front.
Yeah,
like legit multiple cameras. So you guys be on the lookout for that. If you the logic and thinking, I'm sure you can figure out who it is. Second season of his TV show, but it's going to be on Comedy Central this fall, and I'm actually going to be on it. That's fucking crazy.
That's badass. So how many of the podcasts do you have, like, a favorite podcast that you go to of the Death Squad, or just any podcast?
Nah, I've got my favorites, man. Number one's got to be Joe Rogan Experience, man. The reason that I like the Joe Rogan Experience is because Joe has so many facets to him. Like, he talks about UFC, he talks about comedy, he talks about sex, he talks about psychedelic drugs. Like, I like that he can play a lot of different roles. I like the type of person he is. Like, he's very balanced, like
the guest wise, yeah. Joe really takes the fucking cake. Like, interesting guest.
Yeah.
So he can go really smart and he can go really dumb. Like, he can talk about some dumb shit like farts and pussies, but then he'll, on the other hand, be talking about. So Joe's podcast is almost like listening to 5 different podcasts together. Wouldn't you say, Keith?
Yeah, I totally agree. And with Brian, like, especially he plays it up on the podcast, which I'm glad Joe's never dumped him.
Yeah, me
for
too.
Being the O'Brien.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can tell he legitimately gets mad at it.
Oh yeah.
But you need Brian. Like, you have to have Brian. Like, he adds a dynamic. Like, they're like opposing forces. They're like yin and yang.
Well, it's just like the Bone Zone. Used to be one of my favorite podcasts.
Yep.
I haven't listened to that shit once since they left, and it's not because it's just because it was all audioed after they left. And
it's a different
the
energy,
Bone Zone
too.
Needed Red Band
Yeah.
to make it what it was.
Yeah.
Them doing all those cool effects and like they would like make them echo and like that was I could never listen to the audio of the Bone Zone.
No.
You have to watch it.
I mean, I remember one Bone Zone where they didn't say anything for like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, or they just whisper.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 40 minutes of
We're talking about 2 different podcasts. There was one where they were just mouthing words to each other as if
shit.
So that, like, you can't get that with an audio podcast. So yeah, I mean, rest in peace to the Bone Zone, man. It's, you know, hey, what can I say? I don't mean to say rest in peace. I mean, I mean, I don't know if they've grown.
What does anyone know what happened to Dr. Davy?
He's lost a shitload of weight, and I think he's just doing more acting.
He's not on the podcast anymore.
I used to follow him on Instagram, and I think he's just doing a lot more acting stuff. I don't know for sure. That's just based on, like, stalking him on Instagram. But I don't know. He dropped a shit ton of weight, and then, like, he's gone from the show. So I don't know.
He hasn't been on the show in, like, a long, like, almost ever since they left. Yeah. He did a couple shows with him, and then he was done.
I know Brandon mentioned like, at one point he mentioned that he wasn't even, like, initially supposed to be part of the show. He just happened to be there when they did their first episode, and then he just kind of kept coming back.
Well, him and Randy did the stage
door knockers
together.
Yeah, they did the door knockers. Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
So I don't know, man. I same with you. I stopped a lot of the shows when they leave, except for the Naughty Show and Your Mom's House. Like, a lot of the shows that leave,
Freddie Lockhart's I followed for a while, but now that it's not on Toad Hop, I don't know that he's. Is Toad Hop even still on network?
I think Toad Hop's gone, because I know they talked about it on Punch Drunk. Yeah, they talked about, they kind of referenced to it that they're kind of done, and I was never a fan of Toad Hop because they had more of a radio format where they
lost it right at the end. Like, they only did, like, one commercial, and it was like promotion for other comedies, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
but for a while it was all music.
You guys know that I do Toad Hop's merchandise?
But I love their merchandise, though. You don't understand that. You don't understand. I'm just saying. I'm just talking about their format as a podcaster. I'm not talking. Their merch is outstanding. That's probably the best part.
But they folded,
of Toad Hop.
They went under.
Listen, as far as I know, no, they didn't. As far as I know a bunch of podcasts left. I know that, but last I knew, they were getting, like, Tom Green was starting a podcast there.
That'd be sick. They could do it. Listen, they can. All they have to do is evolve.
Corolla's place.
Maybe.
Ace Broadcasting. There's a lot of big heavy hitters in LA. And the, all things comedy, the way that network's set up, which is very similar to, the way I have mine set up, that model.
Trying to say they stole it.
Absolutely not. No, if they stole it, yeah, right. Like, that would be whoever went to if a business meeting. Like, listen, I listened to this dude, and he does his podcast, and he started this
Al Madrigal.
network. Yeah, Al Madrigal and Bill Burr are huge fans of the Inspired Disorder podcast, and they're like, "Yo, we got the idea for a network without having to do a network. It's like a collective."
How shit happens. Don't you remember Carlos Mencia, they say he used to sit in the back of the club and steal ideas from the young comics.
That's true.
How this shit happens, I wouldn't be terribly surprised.
Yeah, it's weird because there's other little things that I've done that I've seen other people do, but I think that's just part of the progression of what's going on, and I don't know, and I don't give a shit.
There's the natural zeitgeist.
I'm too busy trying to grow my own shit to worry if anybody's trying to steal it, because my idea... Like, the way I think of it is, if somebody wanted to rip off every single thing, they can't rip off me. They can't rip off my ideas. So, they can try and keep up, but if they don't have original thinking on their own, then they're fucked. If all they do is, eventually it's going to catch up to them like it caught up to Minstelia,
I told a joke on stage once. It's actually probably on one of my YouTube videos. And, it's a Stanhope. Like, I did Stanhope.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't on purpose by any means. Like, I had to extend my set. We had a comic cancel. It was one of my first few sets. And after I did it, I came off stage and I immediately I'm like, yo, I remember saying a line that I had heard before, but it was just in my head. Like,
yeah.
And plus, when you're nervous and you're in the moment, things slip out. And
Yeah, and to me, I was devastated by. I was like, I know that was a Doug Stanhope line. I should not have said that.
Were you listening?
And it was like my third set ever.
Were you listening to a lot of Doug before you went up?
I was. I was.
Dude, when I first got into comedy, like stand up, like got back into it, I guess. Like listening and watching was fucking dude. Who's the dude everybody hates that got huge? Dane Cook. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Dane Cook. Like I got into listening to his CDs, like, and just got addicted. And
I love Dane. I love.
Oh, he's hilarious. But I got into speaking in his cadence and like just like talking like he talk, because I like to be funny. Like I used to, if I knew stand-up comedy was a thing growing up, then I may have had a completely different trajectory than I'm on now. Which I might still try and do some stand-up at some point. But like it just like ingrained in my head to where it's just like I can make up a joke, but tell it in Dane's like cadence and the way he speaks, and it would be funny just because the way he delivers the jokes, you know, was so simple. I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to Patrice a lot.
Yeah,
and I wrote jokes while listening to Patrice, and when I read them back, like they were in his cadence, like that. They were his. I was writing jokes for him.
Yeah.
I think that's inevitable, man. When I went through that time where I was listening to all of the Beauty and the Beast podcasts, just one after another, I saw myself stealing Joey's the way he talks. I think it's almost like a tribal monkey thing, like the people you tribe with, and if you find somebody that you like, you just end up adopting their mannerisms. I think it's a tribal thing. I really do.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that in the fact that I've went to other places in the States, like down south. You go down south for a week, you come back and you say y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how the fuck did that? Oh, or even like I'll say this, I know nothing about black people. If I hang out with, I have black friends though that are black, and if I hang out with them for enough time, I fucking start talking kind of black.
The tribal thing, man.
It's you just fit in. You want to fit in, and you know how to.
Yeah.
Like and especially comedians are good chameleons.
Right.
Yeah. And that's how humans are set up. It's like that's how we learn. Like when you're young, you kind of learn by imitating the grown-ups that you're around, your parents or whoever it is that are around you that are older, because you think they know more than you. Well, at the time they did, definitely. But it's you kind of take on the ability to imitate and impersonate people just because that's how you learn how to get by and like communicate with people and interact with people and stuff like that. So it's just kind of one of those traits that we have from, you know, we've had for our whole life that we used as like a learning tool that even today, you know, we still, you know, we adopt people's mannerisms, people's, you know, cadence and the way they speak, the way they dress. I mean, and plus, you know, it's hard to just do something completely different than everybody else because there is the need to want to fit in or be, you know, part of the whole culture of the group you're around. You know, that's kind of how most people are. It's rare. It's more rare to find a rebellious person that strikes out and is very different.
In my opinion, even myself, like we all are an amalgamation of people we think are cool. You know what I mean? So any like mannerisms that I've gotten or lingo that I have, I'm sure I somehow picked up along from somebody that I thought was cool at one point, or a music video I saw where I admired the artist or that sort of thing. So it's corny as fuck to say, you know,
we all imitate someone.
Corny as fuck, but unfortunately that's the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know this from everyone that knows my father and knows me. They're like, every time they hear me talk or every time they see me do anything, they're like, hey, you look just like your dad. Well, that's fucking because that's how I learned everything.
Yeah.
How to laugh, how to act, like what to do. My dad and I both drink beer and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like we're the same person, and everyone wants to not be their father
But
or be their father.
it's almost inevitable. You are your parents. Like you are your parents.
Yeah. But the weird thing, like, I'd be curious to know, like, because my dad left when I was 6, so I'd be curious to know, like, how similar I am today to how he was at my age.
I bet you're a lot more like your dad than you know.
Probably, yeah.
Just from genetics.
Yeah, I think DNA has a shitload to do with how, like, that's kind of the scaffolding.
Because my mom had custody of me for forever, and I went to my dad's every other weekend. But yet I grew up to be exactly like my dad.
Yeah. Well, but I haven't seen him since I was 6. So.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, still, only seeing my dad once every fucking 14 days.
I tell you what, man, I do, like, when I smile to the side, and my dad wasn't around when I was a kid either, and that has to be genetic because we have the exact same smile. I mean, the body is whatever, that you can't really change genetically, but that the mannerisms of a smile are his, so I bet you probably are just like your dad, Ray.
Yeah. Awesome. Wins? Yeah. That's not something
don't
I
have
look forward to.
You will leave.
Yeah. I need to not do coke. I need to not get in construction. And luckily I don't beat women. So I'm already doing okay. But who knows what the rest. I mean, the 80s were a crazy time.
Mannerisms are you don't have to
I know,
be
exactly.
an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Maybe that's why I compensate. That's everybody says I'm so nice. Maybe I'm just compensating. I don't want to be.
And that's why I try to be an asshole on this podcast, because Ray is too nice.
Yeah.
Red Band and which one is Joe Rogan? That's the question.
You know what? I gotta be both of them. I have to be both, and then Keith is like the O'Brien moments. Not really. No, it's not even. It's a weird mixture, which is good.
I like the podcast, man. Like I said, I listened to the Gareth Reynolds one, and I listened to the Jill Himitsu and Death Squad CT one, only because I've had contact with both of them, but I've never, like, talked with them or, you know, watched them move and, you know, listen to their mannerisms and stuff. So
yeah, one of them I wasn't even on. Shit, yeah. I got sick the one week.
Yeah.
That's why I like when Low Animal asked earlier. He's like, who is the co-host? Yeah. Is it Jill or Keith? And I'm like, I wanted to be like, motherfucker, I've been the co-host on the last fucking 20 podcasts. I missed one, and it's like, oh,
who's that guy?
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
Probably was hoping it was Jill. No offense to Jill's husband or their family, but she's cute as fuck. I don't care.
Oh shit!
But she's very pretty. No, I don't mean to say she's very, but she's just really cute. So I'm sitting here watching this podcast, and I'm like, wow. For some reason, I'm like centering on her picture. She's just a very cute girl, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. And next time,
I agree. I'm not as cute as Jill.
Yeah. One day when Keith decides to quit, I'll get Jill as the new co-host. Yeah.
I gotta get Jill to talk more, man. She sent me a DM like, did you like the podcast? And I said, yeah, I liked it. She was quiet, though. She's so shy. She seems shy.
Well, I know a different Jill than you do.
Whoa.
Oh.
No, not quite. I mean, I don't know what I just said right now.
All right, so we're running up on the 2 hour
mark.
So,
does anybody have anything they need to promote? Plug? Plug? Wrong term.
And thank you guys for supporting the artist, but also supporting me. You guys have helped a fan's dream come true of separating myself from fandom and actually becoming a part of these guys' lives. So thank you to the Death Squad community for being cool as fuck. And you guys buy merch every fucking day, dude. Seriously. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for supporting us and you know, helping these guys realize their dreams, because without money, these comedians can't continue to put out content. So you guys supporting the merchandise helps them continue to give free content. So seriously, thanks you guys from the bottom of my heart. I don't have anything to promote, man. Just follow me on Twitter if you don't already. My Twitter is at JAYARR Steiner. So at Jayarr Steiner. And shit, that's it, man.
And go to jrcustoms.com. Check out all of his shit.
jrcustoms.com.
Fuck yeah. Keith?
Keith Spurlock1 on Twitter. I've spelled it enough.
What about
I gave you my home address before.
What about your YouTube? I want to see some of your videos on YouTube. What do I look up?
No, actually, just go to inspireddisorder.com.
Yeah.
And I have my own. There's a picture of me, and it links to my page.
Yeah, on the front page, there's a link. I set up a little page for him, and it's got some of his videos. I don't know if I have your. Did you do any recent ones?
I've got audio recordings of a couple of the new ones.
That's fine.
From the
you
new
should
voice
fucking
recorder.
upload those to the IDC website.
Yeah,
just some more video content on there. But yeah, anyway,
I gotta email them to you because I don't know how that shit works.
It's real easy, dude. I'd rather just walk you through it so I don't have to do it.
That.
I've got it's easy. It's easy, man. I'll show you. I'll walk
talent,
you through
not technical talent.
Yeah. You gotta step up your technical game a little bit, just a little bit,
just a little bit.
Yeah, it's fucking easy. Anyway, I'll tell you how to do it. Anyway, at Ray Taylor, InspiredDisorder.com. Go to InspiredDisorderCollective.com. Check out all the other podcasts, the blogs. A few songs up there, a couple by Yuck. I actually put up a song that I made fucking years ago that I found, so I put it up there. But anyway, check out that, videos, all that shit. InspiredDisorderCollective.com. Sign up, all that shit. And also go to hashtagshows.com and check out all the comedians.
Please.
See if they're in your area. Find your favorite comedians and see where they're playing. Go support them by going to their shows, their live shows, but also support them by going to jrcustoms.com and buying shit, buying a ton of merch. Look at the sticker on the face, on the screen. That is the place where you need to go. Spend some money. Support a lot of people doing a lot of cool things. And as always, appreciate it. Thank you, JR. Definitely can't wait to see you in a couple weeks or a week or so.
Come out and visit. It's either going to be the very early May or late April, but it's going to be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So
cool, man.
We're going to get up, man.
I'm looking forward to it. And definitely we'll probably have you back on. We will definitely have you back on the show again because I enjoyed it. 2 hours flew by, which is always a good sign.
I would love to do, when I come out, some sort of project. Like, I had the idea of going to the La Jolla Comedy Store and doing, I think I ran that by you, and doing like a small podcast, not during a show, but, maybe in between shows. I don't know. It's an idea. Maybe we'll figure something out when I come out there.
For sure. I've got the gear to do it mobile, so we can figure that shit all out and come up with something. It's awesome, man. The future is bright, man. We're going to be talking more, for sure. But anyway, thank everybody for listening. Low Animal. Keith is still the co-host of the show. He passed the trial version of today, and
thank
I
God
will
I
allow
made
him
it.
back. Jill, I'm sorry, but
round number 20.
Thank you for all you do, and check out hashtag shows and everybody else. Peace out.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.